Hello again, this is John, and in front of us we have a Necchi BU Nova sewing machine made in Italy. This is a mid-50s vintage, and supposedly they're pretty desirable. I found this one at a local thrift store, and I happened to walk into the thrift store that day, and they had this. They had a Singer 403, I believe, and some other sewing machine. I wanted to buy all three of them, but I only had room for one, so I chose this one, and I think I made a wise choice. It seems to be all there. It has a 1.1 amp motor on it, marked Necchi, and it is a zigzag machine. So let's just walk around it here. Upper thread tension knob, foot tension over here, and all of these dials, or all of these adjustments, they have, like for the foot tension, it's got a little pointer with a window, and you turn this knob and it moves the pointer. So it's got a very fine adjustment to move that pointer up and down. Same with the upper thread tension. It's got a pointer up here. I don't know that you can see it, but there's a pointer almost straight up, and we can turn this guy and the needle starts going over that direction. We turn it the other way and the needle goes back the other direction. So it's got a very fine adjustment for both upper tension on the thread and upper tension for the foot. Now we go around over here. This is the left, center, right position for the needle. 3 positions. This is the zigzag width lever, and this curious little button underneath here, that is so you can set the maximum zigzag width. So if you wanted to go to 0 at some point in your time you're sewing zigzags, you can just set the stop, go back to 0, and go back to your preset position again. So that's just a stop. I usually keep it all the way over. That way I can just go all the way from 0 to 4. I guess it says 5 over there, but the little pointer's in the way. Now another funny thing is both these levers have a hole in them, and I at first wondered what those holes were for, but later on I found out that they're for an attachment that goes on the front here that takes cams, and I believe it's called a wonder wheel. And then the wonder wheel has levers and then got wires that go up to these 2 holes. So when you're sewing along, the cam will rotate around and pull these things in different positions periodically as that cam rotates around. So that's what those 2 holes are for. If you do a search on the net, you can see what those wonder wheels look like. Okay, now this is the stitch length lever, and this has a stop feature like the stitch width lever. It's got little pointers that kind of move along with the lever, so you can move it up to a certain place, and the top and the bottom pointers both, they move in unison. When one goes up a certain amount, the other one goes down a certain amount. And then you tighten this little knob here and it keeps them at that position. So now you can go forward and reverse to the stops. But me just fiddling around, I usually just leave it all the way at the maximum. And then we have our bobbin winder here at the side. And I think that's about it. This is a belt drive machine, and pretty high quality. You can see up on top it's got little oil holes but they have a spring-loaded button in the center of each one of them to keep the dirt out. And I guess I've read online that these machines are built to such tight tolerances that you need to keep them well oiled. So let's just run it a little bit and you can hear it go. Okay, let me get the camera set up and we'll do some sewing. Okay, let's get this threaded. Goes up through this, first through that button. Oh, it's unwinding on me. That's one problem with this kind of spool. Gotta keep it tight. So it goes around the tension disc, down up through the check spring, underneath this hook, through this loop, up there, down here, and finally through the needle. Got a very large needle in here right now. I don't know exactly what size it is, but it's big enough to take the V92 thread that I have put through this machine in the past. Don't remember what I used this on, but I've used this this thick thread to sew something, and this Necchi went through just fine. Let me turn the light on in the back here, and I think we're ready to go. Whoops. Let's go forwards. We'll run to the end. Turn it around, switch it to zigzag, and we'll do a little bit more here. I'm going to make this a very fine stitch length. Maybe just a little bit bigger than that. Okay, let's go all the way. Does a pretty quick. It's got quite a long stitch length. So, came in a nice desk. I think this is a original desk to the machine. And it's in surprisingly good condition for being, I don't know, almost 60 years old. They built them back in the day when they were made to last. It's just a very fine machine. And it will outlast me and outlast my kids. I don't know how long these things can last, but practically forever. There's hardly anything that can break on them. So, thank you for watching.